What's up? Alright, check it out. I decided I'm gonna do a tutorial on how to make cerveza. So I'm gonna walk you through step by step on how to make cerveza because I am a professional. Been doing this for a lot of years. I lost count on how many years I've been doing it. Sorry about the noise. It's this water distiller. I needed an extra amount of water for the beer making process. This is my mash tun, and it's also my boiling pot. Right now I have, how much I got in here? 3.5 gallons, and I need to warm this up to 160. On hold here I have about 3 3/4 of water. This is gonna be for the sparge. We're not there yet. We're getting there. This is what beer's made out of. This is grain. You can't really, I mean, you could technically just put this in the pot like this at 160, but the thing that makes the sugars is what's inside. It's the starch. Let me grab one of these. All right, so inside you're gonna see this white shit. See that? You see that? All right, that stuff is starch. However, when you put it at a certain temperature for a certain amount of time, that starch will convert over into sugars. In order to really take full advantage of the starches that are in there and convert them all as much as possible, we need to crack all these little kernels open. That's where this thingy comes in. It's called a cracker opener, barley cracker. There's the barley, my little power tool there. Let's see if I can do it with one hand. If you don't have one of these little grain crusher things, the brewery place where you buy your grains from will happily do it for you. Next step is to put that into the 3.5 gallons of 165-ish degrees of mash tun water. Now that is done, and you just pretty much grab a big ass spoon and just start mixing it in. Make sure there's no clumps in there of the grain that's stuck together. The lid on, cover it up, and you let it sit. It's supposed to stay at 150, 152. It's supposed to be like 45 minutes. What time is it now? PF 421 times 45 divided by 3. I don't know what time that is. 5:05-ish. I'll check it out. I don't know. See if it's ready to go. But do you guys think we went to the moon? Honestly, like, do you guys think that we actually went to the moon? The United States of America in 1969? Honestly? So I became a conspiracy theorist, and that's one of the subjects that I kept hearing about, is the conspiracy of us not going to the moon. The moon landing being fake. And the stuff that I got into was like 9/11 stuff, and that's the stuff that kind of blew my mind. The Bilderberg and the Illuminati and, you know, the Bohemian Grove, stuff like that. I tripped out on that, but I kept hearing about moon landing. But I avoided it for so long, and the reason I did is because everybody that talked about the moon landing got made fun of hard. Just forget about it. It was used as an insult. Oh, you probably don't even believe we went to the moon. Well, actually, I don't believe that we went to the moon. Ah, ha, 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 see? You don't even believe we went to the moon. And I would see all this brainwashing, and as I was coming to my awakening at the time, I thought to myself, oh man, I don't want to become one of those guys. I don't want to be made fun of like that, you know? So I just avoided it. But I kept having epiphanies on so many different conspiracies that I said to myself, like, I bet you there's something up with that moon landing stuff. I bet you there is something weird about it. So eventually I started doing my research. I started going down that rabbit hole, and yeah, wow, it's a crazy rabbit hole. We didn't go to the freaking moon, I'll tell you that right now. We did not go to the moon. It didn't happen. It was make-believe. They used trick photography. They used, I don't know what the hell they used, but we never went. You know, I could sit here and be like, oh, well, look at the flag. The flag is waving but there's no atmosphere. I could say that. I mean, you can see those videos on YouTube. I'm just going to use regular common sense to make my point. That we didn't go to the freaking moon, which is this. Technology always improves. Technology always gets better. Always. Think about anything. Anything. Everything gets better. Everything gets faster. It's just a matter of time for the technology to get better to where it becomes faster, smaller, less expensive, you name it. However, with this moon landing stuff, it's the opposite. We only went to the moon in 1969 through 1971 or 72, something like that, with the technology that we had back then. And I've heard it said many times, even by the people who are in NASA, that, oh, they went to the moon, but they went to the moon with less technology than you have on your phone. You got more technology in your phone than they had when they went to the moon and back. And so the question arises, well, if we really did go in the 60s, how come we haven't been back since? The last time we went was 1971 or 72? How come we haven't been back since? It's a good question. It's a really good question. If we really did go, and it was so easy for them to go, I mean, they don't claim it was easy for them to go, but with that sort of technology in that time, which was way less advanced than the technology we have today, how come we haven't been back? And the explanation that we're given to by NASA and by supporters of NASA is, well, it's because we lost that data. We lost that data that we had to get over there. That technology that we had back then, we lost it. We don't know what happened to it, but it's gone. It's gone. That's the excuse that they give us. That's the excuse. That technology is gone. Which is, wait, what? We don't have that technology anymore? Everything improves with technology. Things get better. Things get faster. Things get easier with technology. How are you gonna sit there and say, oh, well, we lost that tech. We don't have that tech anymore. No, our tech is advanced. It's advanced. And this be one of the reasons why I don't really fuck with Joe Rogan anymore. Joe Rogan, screw that guy. Forget him. Listen, the guy, he's one of the reasons why I became aware about the moon landing is because he's so eloquent. He was so eloquent, he was so informed on the subject that if you just listen to him for an hour, at the end of it, you're like, yeah, that's stupid. That doesn't make sense. That's Joe Rogan in the early years, before he was world famous, before he had like the #1 podcast in the world. He was just using wisdom, knowledge, common sense, and destroying. There's this really popular interview that he did with, Penn and Teller, the magicians. I guess they have either radio show or a podcast, something like that. This was years and years ago. And they had Joe Rogan on as a guest. And the reason they had Joe Rogan on as a guest is because I think it's Teller, with the one that talks, which one that talks, Teller, I don't know. He was friends with Joe, but was surprised because he thought Joe was a smart guy until he started talking about the moon landing. And he was like, wait, you don't think we went to the moon? What? And he's like, no, of course we didn't go to the moon. And he was just like, well, Joe, I thought you're such a smart guy, but then you don't think we went to the moon. So I'm having you on my show so you can debate a guy who's an expert on the moon landing. And Joe was like, yeah, bring it on. And if you find this on the internet, I suggest you watch it. It's awesome. I found it on YouTube. And Joe Rogan goes on there. And if you know the trivium and you know information and just forget about emotional arguments and stuff like that, and you're just using logic and information, this guy was destroying the NASA guy. Like the NASA guy, you could hear him using techniques of like trying to make fun of him and trying to like use all these like, appeal to authority, appeal to all these different sort of argumentative trickery techniques. Joe Rogan wasn't using those, and there was so many things that he said that the NASA guy could not argue with him. He was just kind of, oh well, I don't know about that. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that. Greatest interview ever. It was actually a 2-part interview where they had to come back and redo it for round 2 for another radio show or podcast interview, and that second one was even more intense. It was great. It was a fantastic. And flash forward to today, this is why I don't fuck with Joe Rogan, is because he's too big. He's too big. They would not allow the guy to. Hold on. It's really, really hot. So they would not allow the guy to. They told him, like, Joe, you can't be as big as you are, like, and talk about the moon landing. I'm sorry, we can't let that happen. You have to start backtracking here and bow down. You got to bow down. But listen, we're going to make you number 1. You're so influential, we're going to make you number 1. And we're even let Tyson, scientist guy, whatever the hell his name is, I don't mess with that guy either. But you got to bow down. And what did he do? He bowed down. And then eventually he started like, well, I mean, I'm just a dumb guy, like, I don't know. Like, I'm not an expert. And it went from, there's no way we went to the moon. There's no way to, there's no way we didn't go to the moon. There's no way we didn't go to the moon. Of course we went. Complete flip-flop. And I get it. I mean, if somebody offered you that much money to be this big and just your job is to talk, I mean, that's a lot of money. I don't think he's the worst person in the world. I really don't. But in my head, he's a piece of shit. He went back on the truth. He had a love for the truth and then went back on it for money, for fame, or for whatever the heck. Maybe they threatened him. I can't even say it's just for money. Maybe they threatened him. I don't know. But I can say he made a decision, and that decision was to go a certain way, and I can't support it. Joe Rogan had some of the best points out there when he was talking about the moon landing. He was one of the first people I heard about it from. I've heard from about that subject, and he just turned his back on it. So screw that guy. And if that's just one subject, I'm telling you, that guy's got a lot of more subjects. He just falls in line and says what he needs to say in order to go along to get along. That's what he's doing. He's not 100%. He's not. The guy is not. There's no way you could be that big. They're going to let you be that big, grassroots, and you can say whatever you want. They're not going to let that happen. He's part of the game. He's playing the game. He's already bowed down. He understands what's going on, and he understands what he can and what he can't talk about. They've told him. So guess what? He doesn't talk about it. One of the biggest conspiracies out there is 9/11. And that guy, smart as he is, from the start was like, nope. I'm not touching that one. Never touched 9/11 because he already knows this is a really big deal. Them faking the moon landing is like, okay, who's that really hurting? You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's really dying from that. And it's just like telling your kids about Santa Claus, like, and they, oh, the Santa Claus is real, whatever. But like, what does it do except make Americans believe that they're the best people in the world? That's all it's doing. I gotta get a little closer over here because this phone's dying. I need to get a charge on it. What the hell was I even talking about? Listen, my point is this. Joe Rogan is a piece of shit. Fuck that guy. I don't listen to his podcast anymore because I don't trust him anymore. He says all the wrong things in regards to things that are true and right that would help the world because he can't say the right thing. He's a gatekeeper in the same way that Rush Limbaugh is a gatekeeper for all the people who are Republicans. Yeah, bro, don't even get me started on Rush Limbaugh. So let me get back to this thing. Next step is the sparge process. All right, I guess I'll dump back. Just poured some more water in. Dumped all the grain out, all the wort back into waiting to hit 212. Give him all the caca. Put some of this in there, some of that in there, brother. Throw this, and after that, you just cool her down with that thing you just put in there. You know what I'm talking about? I don't. Sanitize everything. I'm gonna take your reading. 200 billion yeast cells. I mean, I don't want to brag or anything, but that's just how I roll. You understand what I'm saying? Now, granted, that is the only one they had. But thanks for watching.